But, I love the customer service industry. I think it's a great place to make people's day. And if I can make that to a customer that has a problem, to a team leader who didn't know what to do, to a CEO who says, I don't know how to take this forward, then I'm happy.
It's not every day you hear someone say they love the customer service industry. Think about it. Have you ever tried calling a customer support center? It can be frustrating, especially when you get different answers to the same question. This is the Business Infrastructure Podcast, the show where we offer strategies, tactics, and resources to cure back office blues. I'm your host, Alicia Butler-Pierre, and that was Marianne Rutz you heard expressing her love for customer service. That's because she knows what it takes to do it well, and you'll hear a story from her about how she does it. This episode is brought to you by Equilibria Incorporated, the company behind this podcast, where we design scale-ready business infrastructure for fast-growing small businesses. I'm proud to call Marianne Rutz a friend. She specializes in revolutionizing the operations of contact centers, and it's earned her the distinction of being a leading specialist in Europe. She's going to share the time she applied her framework to turn around a company's poor customer service ratings and sales during a time when the world was on lockdown. This is episode 210, Uncharted Territory, how Marianne Rutz grew a retail company's revenue through excellent customer support.
My name is Marianne Rutz, and it's actually pronounced Marianne the German way, kind of a bit of a giveaway, but I'm not German. I'm a Swiss national. I'm married to an Englishman, and I live in Scotland. I am the owner of Rutz Consulting. My absolute love is really contact center growth, customer experience, that kind of environment. I studied hotel and tourism, absolutely love the industry. I think, I did everything from washing dishes and checking in flight guests to running tour operator pieces for big Swiss tour operators, the likes of. And then I got an opportunity to work with Hertz as a project manager. And Hertz invited me to move to Dublin with them, where they put up this big shared services center. And I didn't even know I was entering the contact center world. I just went there as a project manager for 9 months. That was in 1999. And that was my entry into the contact center world, because that is what we did. We took customers' phone calls, we took customers' queries, we took customers' complaints and helped them solve their issues.
In case you're unfamiliar with Hertz, it's an American-based car rental company. When Marianne began working as a project manager for their contact center, the contact center industry as a whole had a bad reputation. The opportunity to work for Hertz came as a result of the company selecting Dublin, Ireland, as the location to centralize the back offices of their European operations.
So it made a lot of sense, especially for American firms, to have a footprint in the European Union and get all these languages served from one place. And that's what Hertz tried to do. 1998, the reservation center opened, and 1999, the customer care center opened. So we had 3,000 people working there. I was with Hertz for 6 years, absolutely loved it. And there was only one reason why I left. I couldn't get past my manager. So the position that I absolutely wanted was taken, and I couldn't see a way of getting it. So I left. I took an interim position where I very quickly noticed, okay, I'm missing something here. I am missing the real focus on customer experience. So there is one element is customer service. The other element is customer experience. What experience do you as a contact center advisor give your customer? And that is two different things. So I joined an organization in the outsourcing space that was absolutely brilliant in delivering just that. And I got an awful lot of training with them.
It was in her post-Hertz experience that Marianne received Six Sigma training. and she loved the work she was doing. But then something happened.
I did this for a good number of years, in fact, until 2015, when I was quite rudely taken out of that environment and I was sent on a cancer journey. And I thought, what am I doing here? But there is a story to this.
A story indeed. Not one to be dismayed, Marianne set out on her next quest. She was going to approach her cancer treatments not as a patient, but as a project manager.
When you project manage, you do have a project management plan. In that journey of the chemotherapy and the whole lot, I actually walked in with a project plan to my medical team.
And Are you serious?
Yes, here, this is what I see. Here is surgery, 10 weeks recovery. Then we start January 2016. We start the chemotherapy. It's 8 rounds. Every 3 weeks, there's a new round. So that's 24 weeks. So by the end of June, we are done. And they just looked at me and was like, oh, I don't think it's going to work like that, but let's just try. But the point I'm making here, if you have a plan and you work towards that plan, your team is usually very, very grateful because they know exactly where you are headed. And if they know where you are headed, they know what they need to do to get to that goal. So that then made me think, well, hang on a second. If I can do something like that for my own journey, why do I not start my own consultancy firm?
This gave her the confidence she needed to move full steam ahead with life as an entrepreneur. With all cylinders fired, she was the conductor of her train. And once it left the station, there was no turning back.
So I thought, okay, it's now or never. So I resigned from my permanent position and I created Rutz Consulting with a very clear focus and desire to make customer service a better place for people to really wanting to help the customer and give the customer solutions, not, oh, well, you need to ring me back. And it's very typical. We can't help you. You now need to fill in a web form. Or we really can't help you. Could you just summarize that for me in an email? That kind of thing is appalling customer service. Or when you get to start to a chatbot where, you put in a query and the chatbot says, can I please have your account number? And then you give the account number and then they give you 3 options and it's not the options that you want. These are things that they get my blood boiling and I think I can do better than you. So I started my own business.
Armed with a newly minted business, experience under her belt, and a keen awareness for what customers desire, Marianne began building her client roster, one project at a time. She thought she'd seen it all until a furnishing company solicited her services during the COVID pandemic. So
this furnishing company, flat packed, high end, but these guys are not competitors of IKEA. But what happened during lockdown, they got bombarded, inundated with orders, with calls. Their sales target absolutely exploded. And everybody was working like mad, trying to keep on top of situations. Especially in the contact center. People were working from home. There was no expertise on that. Then people didn't know how to measure productivity when you work from home, for example. Had people logged in? Had they not logged in? Were they there? Were they not there? It was a real mess. So the CEO reached out to me and initially I just going to go, okay, just tell me what your problem is. What keeps you awake at night? And he said to me, Marianne, our Trustpilot reviews are heading south. They are so poor. So I looked at what they said, and there was one common thread. We couldn't get the goods at the time we wanted them. We tried to ring the contact center. Nobody answered. We got an answer, but it was a canned response. We don't like that. That kind of thing. So we started discussing a little bit, and eventually he said, I think we need help. So when somebody says that to me, I'm going, yes, let's just do what we call strategic asset review. By that, I mean, when you run a business, you normally have a number of areas that you look at.
Turns out that strategic assets review is part of her company's signature LEAP framework. Coming up after the break, we'll learn what those areas of the strategic assets review are, how business infrastructure ties into it, and how it led to a type of scale that no one anticipated. You started your business because you believed you could make a difference. But now you have more demand than you can keep up with, and if you don't get your operations in order soon, you could lose everything you've worked so hard to build. The chaos is causing angry customers, bad reviews, failed audits, and more. The need for a unified team with processes they can follow and tools they can use without your presence is apparent. But where can you go for support? The Smooth Operator Masterclass may be the solution you're looking for. It's an on-demand, online course that not only teaches you what business infrastructure is, but also shows you how to create it through video demonstrations and access to a private community where you can get even more support. Build a foundation for operational success with a scale-ready framework that's tried, tested, and true. Sign up today at smoothoperator.courses. That's smoothoperator.courses. We're back, and before the break, Marianne mentioned a strategic assets review as a starting point to stabilizing this high-end furniture company's revenue and customer satisfaction.
You look at your finances, you look at your marketing, you look at scaling, how do you grow? You look at operational efficiencies, you have innovation, especially in the furnishing sector, there's design involved, etc. You have customer experience, and you also have a little bit of personal growth opportunity. So my team and I went in and we looked at what our client had for their contact center. At that point, there were about 45 people working in the contact center.
I know. It was just starting to get good, right? Well, there's more where that came from. To listen to the full interview, be sure to click the link in the description box below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell so that you'll know when our next episode drops. Until then, keep operating smoothly.
Join us next week for another episode of Business Infrastructure with Alicia Butler-Pierre.